I realized what bothers me about the Skyrim horse's head tracking. Normal horses don't look at you head on because they see better to the side, which implies that Skyrim horses are predators. No offense, but Squidward saying nobody cares about the fate of labor as long as they can get their instant gratification is more woke than anything Wendy's Twitter or any liberal has ever said. My name is Robert, but I would prefer that you call me Bob. It's just like that. You know what I mean? And if you were to insist upon calling that person Robert, you would be a colossal PP. Paul F. Tompkins, succinctly explaining why you call people what they want to be called, whether it's little people, or transgender, or chairperson, or Bob. It's not about being politically correct, and it's not about you. It's about basic decency and respect. Peter Parker. Holy yeah. Bruce Banner, sighing. Yes, I'm the Who. Peter Parker, the most renowned scientist of the generation. Bruce Banner, voice cracking about to cry. Thanks. I miss Italian Elon Musk. Italian Elon Musk. I send the calzone into space. I don't pay the taxes. Oh, this is objectively the funniest thing to ever come out of Twitter. Spider-Man is so fucking funny, dude. Saves like an entire country and then he goes home at the end of the day and opens his fridge and he's got like one egg and a half empty can of Arizona tea, no matter how old he is or what comic he's from. That's just how Peter Parker lives. Somebody post the "we have money, oh thank god" screenshot. We have money. Oh, thank god. Once in band I forgot the sheet music was double-sided, so I ended up going on to the next page while everyone else was on the backside of the first page, and I finished like 20 bars early. None of us realized because it was jazz. Pros of jazz. Harder to realize when you've fucked up. Cons of jazz. Harder to realize when you've fucked up. My cat has ice cream prescience. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she reads my intent so clearly. When I walk to the kitchen to get a popsicle, or thaw a slice of banana bread, or warm up some mango slices, she doesn't care. She stays on her chair and waits patiently. But when I walk to the kitchen to scoop myself a bowl of ice cream, she's at my heels, shrieking by the time I turn on the light. She knows. She's not smelling it. She's not hearing me say ice cream. She's not accustomed to some predictable pattern because I rarely eat ice cream. But she fucking figures out before I even reach the refrigerator. It's the only human food she asks for, and I have to give her a small tithe of it to keep her from shredding the skin from my legs and popping my eardrums. She's terrifying. Registering the unique ice cream gate. Try walking without rhythm so the cat will not be able to track your movements. But what if it's not my ice cream groove? What if I excuse pheromones of ice cream intent? There have to be ways to thwart her ice cream knowledge. Perhaps I will have to trick myself into believing that I'm actually getting up to thaw leftovers, and then I'll start exuding leftover intent pheromones. I did it. I got up to make myself a cup of tea, thought tea thoughts, and then, at the last moment, I filled my teacup with ice cream instead of tea. My cat didn't even notice. She didn't smell it, or pester me while I was eating, or come running and yodeling her need when I opened the freezer. I'm free. What happens if you think about ice cream while getting something else? I just tested this. I got up thinking ice cream thoughts, and by the time I got to the kitchen, guess who was at my heels meowing? This is she. You have a semi-omniscient god-tier goblin in your house who can read thoughts and can as such predict the future to some degree of accuracy, but it only wants ice cream. That's amazing. You understand a lot about American suburbs by looking at the front and back of houses. I miss 2012 when the biggest problem was Gangnam Style being overplayed. It was a much simpler time before we knew what 2016 had in store for us. 2012 was like the early years of Harry Potter when the biggest obstacle he faced was a somewhat cranky dog. Now 2016 has happened, the True Wizard tournament is over, and Cedric is dead. Tale of Nintendo Core, a musical genre that combines element of video game theme music and sound effects to modern punk rock or metal. Redid music. I've never heard this kind of music, but it seems right up my alley. So if it is, I'm going to come back and kick your ass for saying that hold on. Redid music. My favorite thing is that Europe is spooky because it's old, and America is spooky because it's big. The difference between America and England is that Americans think 100 years is a long time, while the English think 100 miles is a long way. Errol Hickner, a fave of mine, was always the American tales, where people freaked out because someone died in this house, and all the Europeans would go, yes, that would be pretty much every house over 40 years old. My school is older than your entire town. There's something so inherently mystical about swimming to the bottom of a pool to retrieve something. Just gracefully swooping down with a purpose and buttering to the quiet bottom. I mean, yeah, I'm probably retrieving a lost toe ring or one of those soggy water bull things, but damn if I don't feel like a mermaid princess searching for hidden treasure. What the F was up with the Ickley apartment? They really had an elevator directly into their apartment, and like 2 or 3 discrete floors. Their apartment was the size of a house, and Spencer was not employed. You don't have to tell me, guys, I don't actually care. Spencer had an OnlyFans. What a horrible, wretched thing to say. Once I finally have an actual flat and job, I'm gonna start a thing where I invite all my friends over for dinner. And there's gonna be a dress code, but it's just that one outfit you never have any chance to wear. Flapper dress, awesome. Medieval gown that you got at a Renaissance fair but don't actually know what to do with. Yes. Prom dress, of course. Cosplay you made for that one convention? Definitely. Pikachu onsi? What would be more fitting? Why did this post suddenly blow up? Several hundred people reblogged this over the last 2 days. Are we all just really feeling the isolation or dreaming of having a party is a big coronavirus mood, I guess. How much money do I have to pay to unsee this post? It's time for some video game gray morality. So we've got an oppressed minority here who are being enslaved and murdered. Do you want to join them and help fight for their freedom, or side with the oppressors to eradicate them completely? But wait, before you make your decision, get this. And this is where it gets really gray. Some of the minority aren't very nice to you. I hope that one day I will finally be okay. I'll make a cherry pie when it is all over. Today is the day. Mad about the idea of money being exchanged for goods and services. First of all, explain to me what makes them goods instead of bads. HSFDJKGSDFKDLSFG, I'm screaming because I don't know if OP knows this, but this is a real thing in economics that we talk about and draw models of. A bad is a commodity that the consumer doesn't like. Money can be exchanged for bads and disservices. I love that mayhem is a legal term. Like, you can be charged with mayhem. It's like arresting someone for funny business. The jury finds the defendant guilty on all accounts of tomfoolery, japing and generally taking the piss, causing a ruckus. My client pleads not guilty on 3 charges of being back on his bullsh. Hey, does anybody want to see my collection of slightly distorted pictures of cats as viewed through glasses? Too late. I've decided for you that you do. Here they are. I did want to see these. Thank you. I hate it when men make fun of women for being vain. Like, you've structured society in such a way that we spend our entire lives chasing after the fleeting moments where we really and truly feel good about our appearances, and then have the audacity to mock us for trying to look pretty, like you're constantly telling us to. Shut the F up. You painted a naked woman because you enjoyed looking at her. put a mirror in her hand, and you called the painting vanity, thus morally condemning the woman whose nakedness you had depicted for your own pleasure. John Berger, Ways of Seeing. The king reading this. What about him? He used to rule the world. Chunks would load when he gave the word. Friend, who lives hundreds of miles away. I made food. Me. Can I have some? Friend, who lives hundreds of miles away. Yes. You hear spaghetti thwap against the receiver. Me. You heard about that COVID-19 stuff? Random person at the grocery store. I think it's COVID-19. Me. Opening my sack of 19 ravens into the grocery store. Think again, FO. I had this dream where everyone knew who they were in their past lives, and it caused so much drama and uproar. You had to list your notable past lives on your job and school applications. There was Tumblr discourse, like, is it morally acceptable to kin someone else's past life? There were articles with headlines, such as how to cope if you find out you were a Nazi in a past life. Celebrities were getting call-out posts based on their past lives. People would ask your lives. Ariana Grande was a founding father. The words Ariana Grande was a founding father hit me like a sack of bricks. Honestly, some of y'all want a significant other so badly and can't understand why you can't find one, but have no sense of boundaries or healthy expectations of what a relationship is like. In a committed long-term partnership, you get left on read, you wait for texts back, and you can forget about each other when you're busy. Sometimes you fall asleep without saying goodnight, and sometimes you're too caught up to text each other before 6 p.m. That's how it is. Thinking that you can't be deeply, beautifully in love and still wait more than 1.75 hours for a text back is such an unhealthy and unreasonable expectation of what love is. And you shouldn't be in a relationship if you can't allow the other person to exist on their own apart from you. If you're projecting your anxieties and insecurities onto a partner who doesn't even exist yet, then you aren't ready for one. Who is going to have a subtextually homoerotic sword fight with me that stems from our major unresolved sexual tension? The World Health Organization is going to do what? My name backwards spells disappointment and skin problems. Nice to meet you. Smellbort next DN8 named me a Pazid. You really shouldn't put your full name on the internet. It's not safe. I'm done. Smellbort for president. It's been many moons since I last saw this post. Jardy was just 19 when his parents built a very strange machine. It said, do not enter, but he did proceed. Because he never f'king learned to read. You have scrolled so much that all the virus memes have ended. And here are some happy sumas in a sunflower field instead. David Attenborough. It is spring, and the sumas have emerged from their burrows. They are quite the rare species men. They naturally emit good vibes and happiness. Chef kiss. Lovely creatures. Perfect. Great. Thank you. It's so crazy that there are creatures like this on Earth. I know. Children are disgusting.